Hello and welcome to Leeroy Gaming, where today we are continuing our playthrough of the life and suffering of Sir Brante. Now, this is a narrative-based RPG, kind of a choose-your-own adventure with dire consequences. If you want to check it out, you can check out the first 2 chapters for free on Steam. Link found below in the description. Within this video, we will be hopefully completing the end of the portion that you can get for free. So moving towards adolescence. So if you want to check out the other videos, obviously check out the series. And if you enjoy my narration and this video, keep it simple. Drop a like, helps the channel a ton. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump in and continue in this playthrough where I will be doing a full narration. Year 1125, childhood's end. The mark left on you by the sacraments takes a long time to heal. Mother says it is a reminder of your lot, suffering and sufferance, pain and patience. Gloria shows you the mark of the lash on her shoulder one day. It will never disappear. You're a commoner now. This is the lot you were born into. But Father keeps telling you to study hard so you may yet earn a different lot and become noble of the mantle. Recall the past with warm sadness when Stephen still lived with you, or when he wrote to you for a time shortly after you left. Now he thinks it's beneath him to write to the commoners in the family. Mother didn't lock herself in the bedroom as often back then. This changed shortly before Nathan was born, but most importantly, missed a time before the terrifying figure of your grandfather was constantly looming over you. You learned your true power of the lot only after the head of the family arrived. In grandfather's eyes, no commoner deserves to be treated with kindness. Is this just him, or is this the way of the entire world? The very thought makes you queasy. You're older now, and what's more, you are an elder brother now. You've learned how to care about someone else, how to teach and protect. Soon you are a small boy no longer. As the days pass, play gradually gives way to laborious study. Now your choices will decide your place in the bizarre and ruthless world of adulthood. Your childhood years are over. End of Chapter 1, Childhood. Alright, and I believe this is exactly where we finished the last video, but for whatever reason it didn't save us fully here. We got 4 perception, we are inquisitive, we're spineless unfortunately. We're exhausted, need to get some rest, and we haven't died yet, so that's good. Childhood to adolescence. You lived in this world for 8 years now. As you grow older, life grows more complex. The world of your childhood was limited to your house and family, but now the realm is expanding. It also includes your neighborhood, the nearby houses, the street of the ancient city of Anizote. Question now looms over you, growing more pressing with each passing year. What will your place be in this vast outside world? Few people in the blessed arcane empire trouble themselves with this question. It's not within a man or woman's power to choose. Their destiny is predetermined by their birth and those who bore them. And yet your peculiar birth has granted you a choice. Your father is a man of nobility, a worthy example in matters of duty and honor. Your mother is a commoner of lowly estate, humility and patience made flesh, and your sky is ablaze day and night with the light of the shining pillar, the beacon of the clergy. Your back bears the mark of the lash. Will you accept the drudgery and suffering that the lot of the lowborn for your entire life? Or will you follow in the footsteps of your father and your father's father and fight for the right to serve the empire as a noble of the mantle? Perhaps you will follow the twin God's word and offer spiritual guidance to others. The answer lies out there in the vast, terrifying world. What awaits you beyond the walls of your home? Chapter 2, Adolescence. Okay, So, events that can happen to Brante family in this chapter. Gloria's secret. Will you discover the secret society your sister Gloria has joined? So, you need 4 more ingenuity. Stephen's disgrace. You find out about your elder brother's forbidden love. Nobility 4 or higher. Blood tide. You join the blood tide of the Brante family. Ooh. Participate in the ritual, nobleman's sacrament, or Gregor Brante 2 or higher. Nathan's admonition. Younger brother Nathan Brante receives the spiritual admonition from you. Spirituality 4 or above. Huh. Interesting, Gregor Brante. What is our relationship? Gregor Brante is the grandfather. Got it. Events in the personal life of the hero that can happen in the chapter. Matter of the heart, you experience your first romantic feelings. Meeting a girl. Revelation of the tree, you experience a revelation by the sacred silver tree. An epiphany, experience the revelation. And Sophia saved. Saved a local girl named Sophia from lesser death. Willpower greater than 0. Rescue Sophia. Personal qualities at this age, they determine what choice you make. Nobility represents how noble your thoughts and deeds are in the pursuit of honorable ideals of the nobleman. Affects your chance of becoming a noble in the mantle and future skills that are crucial for the noble state. Okay. Ingenuity represents how quick-witted you are, how skillful you can manipulate a situation of your own end. It affects your ability to survive without the privileges of nobility and future skills that are crucial for a commoner. Spirituality, your aspiration to unlock the mysteries of creation, explore the divine and immortal world, the people around you, and yourself. It affects your ability to become a priest and future skill crucial for the clergy. Huh. Interesting. So do we want to go down, say, in a commoner path, which I don't really want to be? Ability sounds cool. Spirituality is kind of interesting too in this world. And there's our person. We need to get some willpower. Relationship screen is now available. Province screen and map. Patriarch. Power. Church. Old Faith. Interesting. Fall of the New Faith. Old Faith, Schism, New Faith. Fall of the Old Faith. Wealth of Magra. Security. Order represents the law and stability of order in province. Lawless. Triumph of the law. Peace. Ooh. Interesting. Oh wow, look, Arcania, Eterna. A lot of stuff here. Magra. Alright, well let's go on. See what happens. Let's see, how do we... Alright. Continue. The boy down the street. The family expects more and more of you as you grow up. Teachers and tutors hired by your father keep you on your toes all the time. Your life these days is dedicated to study for your future, for the future of the Brante family. Younger brother Nathan keeps growing up too. He can hold a conversation now. You never refuse him when he comes to play, provided you have a bit of free time between your demanding lessons. It is a rainy day today. Father and mother have gone to the ball, and they left Nathan in your care. You lose track of time over the book in the sitting room. Anything goes off alone to splash in the creek. Soon you hear his voice begging you to come outside. He is on the porch, sobbing, all covered in dirt. You walk up to him as he continues to bawl. Nathan, it's all that kid. He pushed me into the ditch and called me names. Said I was a fancy pants fool. I said I'll call my brother. He's still there. You have to go punish him, Leeroy. Nathan points at a lopsided wooden house further down the street where the poor artisans live. You see two boys lingering there on the porch. They are clearly both commoners, but far from poor. One of them is almost as tall as Nathan, and he frowns in a funny way, just like him. The other looks older, almost your age, but he is more broad-shouldered and taller. His name is Thomas. You've heard it before. Nathan. There, Leeroy, that's him. Nathan points at the younger boy and hides behind your back. Thomas grins and rolls up his sleeves to reveal strong forearms. He must have been helping his father with the manual labor for quite some time. Thomas. Guerrero. Listen up, rich boys. We don't give a damn about you or your friendship. We don't let nobody call our home a stinking rat hole. Your little brother earned his ditch dive. Maybe next time he'll dress normal and stop picking fights with people who can throw him in the mud. Your hands clench in a fist before you react. Nathan called them names first. No wonder they did the same. That's how it goes. But pushing your brother into a ditch is too much. Thomas stands tall and confident. He sees no threat in you. You're about to get ready for a fight when you feel a tug on your sleeve. You turn your head to see Nathan, the one who started the whole mess. Give him a beating. So your brother is to blame. Nathan keeps tugging your sleeve. It seems he has something important to tell you, but it's locked. Because he's not grateful. So here it's either going spiritual path, ingenuity, or nobility. Ability, spirituality. I feel like I would want to go up in the world and be a noble. Is it that or spiritual? I don't know. That's interesting too. You know, I think like I'm pretty peaceful. That's more related to the motherly side. But their religion's all messed up. Oops. Okay, I just clicked that, didn't I? Must be innate. This quarrel can be resolved peacefully. You turn to Thomas and offer to solve the problem like adults. His brother will apologize to Nathan, and Nathan will apologize to him in return. No need to fight anymore, and he will give Nathan a piece of your mind when you get home. You and Thomas are all grown up and should act your age, you say. The blood rushes to Thomas' face when he hears this. Act our age, you say? Are you calling me a baby? You better shut your trap. This is all he says before he attacks. You barely dodge a fist flying at your face. You start trading blows, huffing and puffing with rage. Younger brothers gawk in awe at the sight. Thomas does not resort to fancy moves, dirty tricks, or stupid taunts. He displays nothing but skill. Earned in many street fights, his heavy fists aim for your head. You keep dodging him again and again, trying to reach him. He takes a couple of glancing blows, but easily shakes them off. What a bruiser. You start swinging your fists. Your first with greater and greater fury. Your heart is pounding like a hammer. You see nothing but the foe in front of you. How much longer will he take? You're worn out, your breath goes ragged, and your muscles grow heavy. There's no way you can give up now. Nathan is watching you. Despite the spread of options, you swing and punch Thomas square in the nose and immediately let his fist smack you in the temple. The blood rings through your head like a bell and blinds you for a moment. World swims before your eyes. You clutch at your head to get your bearings. Thomas is standing in front of you, blood dripping from the nose. You no longer want to fight it out, and it seems your opponent would rather end it too. But you keep standing there, eyeing each other angrily. And suddenly, you hear an angry shout right next to you. An enraged man in a craftsman's apron is shaking his fist. Thomas's face contorts in terror right away. Thomas, it's my father, run! Punishment for fighting is flogging, and the mere prospect of that makes you run like the wind. Thomas sprints in front of you. You dash across the rotten wooden planks of the back alley, up and over a lopsided fence, across a giant puddle in one leap, and then forward into the tall grass. You hide there and stay quiet. You hear no sounds of pursuit. You exchange glances with Thomas and start laughing. His laughter is loud and infectious, but soon he cuts it short and grows sadder. Thomas. I'm gonna get flogged anyways. My dad's always quick to give me a beating. And then he'll start nagging me about the lots and the prayers for days like he always does. Why do I always get myself mixed up in this stuff? But fighting is the only way to prove you're worth anything, right? The adults didn't see you fighting, you tell them. So all you have to do now is convince them you weren't. Nosebleed happened, right? Mother gets nosebleeds all the time. Thomas. Well, we could try. Let's hope our little brothers don't tell on us. I'll talk to mine. There's a scratch on your head. Don't let them see it. Good thing I didn't hit you in the face. There. Good as new. You assure him that Nathan will never tell, and in return, you'll make sure he behaves himself so he won't get tossed into a ditch again. With that, you shake hands with Thomas. His handshake is as strong as you would expect based on his fists. Make your way out of the tall grass. You need to leave before Thomas's father goes to the family and complains about your breaking your lot. You come to realization on the way back. You had no idea the place where you were hiding even existed. It wasn't too far from home. Thomas smiles in excitement when he hears this. Oh, I know lots of places like this. I'll tell you what. If you get out of this mess today, I'll show you the way to the old fortress wall. It's the perfect place to build your own fort. I dragged a bunch of wooden planks there. Too bad it's no fun to build all alone. My brother never helps. He just gets in the way. You emerge from the muddy back alley united by a secret only the two of you know. Seems you've made a friend today. That Thomas. $11.27. 9 years old now. Riders on the road. The blistering hot day, today, even for the sun-parched land of Magra. As soon as you are done with your studies, you dash out the door and out of the stuffy room. You and Thomas roll up your shirt sleeves, but it barely helps. Would gladly go shirtless had you only been in the company of other boys. There are 3 girls in the yard today. They are doing the laundry in a big wash tub, whispering and giggling. If you could, you would gladly keep watching one of them at work. She has the big eyes of deep blue. Her dark hair is braided and her plain gray dress is mended and patched all over. Her name is Sophia. She throws her head back a little when she laughs. The rays of the sun are reflected in her eyes. You, Thomas, and the other boys keep telling silly stories. Anything to make her laugh. Sophia. You sure love telling tall tales, Leeroy. Oh, I remember this one time. But then Sophia hears a voice calling her home. She nods to you and runs across the street smiling. Her light steps carry her forward, but her eyes are looking elsewhere. But then a stone on the road catches her foot. She stumbles and falls flat in the dust. The street starts shaking from the thundering of hoofs. Riders appear on the road from around the corner. They bear a coat of arms you recognize right away. A sable serpent blade on a field of vert. It symbolizes the Melanian dynasty, the family of your province's archduke. Horse dash forward. A lost wooden toy on the road cracks under their hooves. They will not slow down. They are the nobles. The rest must make way for them. Sophia's in their way. Oh no. I have no willpower to save poor Sophia. Sophia's is in their way, just starting to get back on her feet. Her mother is crying for her desperately from behind the fence door. You freeze in terror. Riders surely see the girl. Are they going to stop, or are they going to trample her? Only a few moments, the beautiful girl will be toppled, trampled, and crushed. Oh, yeah. Sophia died her first death. Yeah, unfortunately, that's all we can do. You stand frozen by the roadside, unable to look away. As the cloud of dust covers the entire street, you feel as if a massive, maddened beast whipped into a merciless frenzy has just passed you by. You hear no screams, no cracking bones, nothing but the deafening din of the hooves. Once the horses are gone and the dust settles, you can finally see the road again, the repulsive blob of blood, flesh, and bone left on it. You can still see trace of Sophia in that mess, her dark hair, the remains of her dress, but it is no longer her. Sophia's earthly remains slowly dissipate and melt into the air. Her mother's eyes are filled with the grief as she watches. She hunches over and slowly walks back into the house. You can still hear the riders, far away down the road. None of them even bothered to look back. Your friends walk away at a loss for words. You make your way home, dazed by what you have seen. You are still dazed as you retell these events to Mother, unable to look up from the floor. After a moment of silence, she embraces you and calms you down. Lydia. Poor girl, what a terrible, painful death. But you must know that it was not her true death. By the twins' mercy, we are all given enough time in this world. Should you die before your time, you will be brought back by their grace. For 3 times they will rescue you from a terrible fate, but the 4th death is true and final for all. Every loss of life we were granted at our birth is a heavy blow to us, but the gods told us not to mourn a lesser death. Everybody will keep on living as though nothing has happened, even Sophia's parents. Their family is poor, and they have no family crypt like we do. When a girl's soul comes back to life, her body will be reborn in the city church with all her wounds healed. Do not mourn her, my son, but thank the twin gods for their justice. You see Sophia by her house a few days later, and she looks completely fine, without so much as a scratch. Other children tell you that her parents now forbid her to leave the yard after dying such an early first death. You call out Sophia's name, she looks at you briefly, then walks back inside. Sophia never talks to you again. That's rough. Harsh lessons. Year 1128. Fall, Soul, and Gunpowder. Sophia disappeared after the terrible incident with the horses. Her friends gossip that her parents sent her off to serve a rich noble dynasty. You haven't seen each other since that day, but you still remember Sophia's eyes, sunlight shining in them. But no matter what, life goes on. You're 10 years old now. Your studies continue, and you are learning more about the land you live in. And Azate is an ancient city in an imperial province by the name of Magra. All soil in Magra was turned to ash eons ago, scorched by magic during the rebellion of Duke Char Milanidas. The magical arts are all but gone now, but the scorched earth has remained barren and infertile ever since. Since then, the entire province has lain barren, tormented by cold and scorching winds in equal measure, with few precious plants taking root on their own. All fertile land in Magra is bought elsewhere and brought here by an endless caravan of carts and carriages. Pay for food and soil. The city of Magra became skilled in many trades, particularly mining and digging for metals and stone. Last fall, there was an explosion just outside the city, followed by clouds of thick smoke. The first such incident frightened the citizens, but then explosions of smoke became an everyday occurrence. Soon everyone grew used to it. Father explains that the miners are using a new invention called gunpowder. It makes it easier for them to reach the precious stones and metals buried within the earth. Then one day, a thunderous explosion rocks the city, and black, billowing smoke covers the house. People are stuck in their homes, all windows tightly shut. The air is impossible to breathe. Nathan coughs all the time. Gloria and you cough only when nobody's watching. If Mother hears it, she'll make you inhale those hot herbal vapors just like Nathan. It's 2 days for the black smoke to disperse. People pour out onto the streets to meet their friends. Thomas is eager to share everything he knows about this incident with you. Thomas, they took lots of burnt up people to the city temple. Mom told me. She was helping the healers. There are many rumors. Some claim it was the work of a beast stirred from its slumber. Others say it's the surviving witches that continue to threaten the order and empire with their accursed powers. But as for you, you patiently wait for Father to come back home. Then you'll ask him about it. Father spent day and night working at the prefecture, while Mother spent all her time in prayer. It takes a full week for Father to finally come home. He's almost completely spent. You muster enough courage during the dinner to ask him what happened outside the city. Father raises his head, his face a bleak, weary mask, and starts muttering his proclamation. It's almost as if he doesn't see you. Robert. It's the mine outside the city. They were trying to get to a vein of ore. There was an explosion, the mine caved in, and the black smoke started flowing. Many workers died there. It was all because Count El Velasco, who owns the mines, wanted them to start mining that vein before they were ready. Some of the workers weren't even reborn. Perhaps the twins thought their final time had come. The prefecture has been inundated with complaints from families that have lost their breadwinners, asking the judges for help. Many people also lost their cattle to the black smoke. Count El Velasco blames gunpowder for the disaster. The prefectures and the newspapers just repeat whatever he says, but it's plain old greed and tyranny that noblemen that are to blame. Why is the welfare of our province always paid for with commoner lives? Then without warning, he grows silent again. Keep thinking about it for days. Can a human life really end so easily? Single moment of bad luck and you die, only to reemerge from the temple or the family crypt with a new black mark on your arm. Or worse, you remain where you fell, dead, never to be reborn again. Ever. Stephen's arrival. During lunch, Father tells you to stay home in the evening and prepare to meet some important guests. Your elder brother Stephen will return home by dinner tonight. Joining him will be your grandfather, Gregor Brandt, as well as a noble friend of the family. You're excited about your brother's return. It's been years since you last saw him. How has he changed during his years away from home? You and Father wait the guests anxiously. The doorbell rings. 3 people are standing outside. Grandfather is the first to come in, naturally. He has not changed a bit since his last visit, still eyeing the house with contempt, looking for any reason to be in it. Grandfather is followed by a stately young man dressed in a jacket embroidered in silver, whom you barely recognize as your brother. Stephen casts a glance at your threadbare clothes, your dirty fingernails, and smirks. Last to enter the house is a personable gentleman with a worn-out, wrinkled face. You've heard a lot about this man from father and grandfather. He is Baron Augustine Elborn, Stephen's uncle, a family friend, and the province's prefect, which means that he is the head judge and thus father's superior. Sir Elborn smiles lightly and offers you his hand. Augustine. And this must be your younger son Leeroy, yes? You have your father's eyes, young man. Father bows slightly to grandfather and Sir Elborn. But there's a moment of quiet when Stephen's turn comes. Father reaches out to him awkwardly, expecting an embrace. There's a question in Stephen's eyes as he looks at grandfather. Old man shakes his head almost imperceptibly. We noblemen had put our emotions on public display, Father, not even after a lengthy separation. There's no brace. Instead, Stephen nods to Father curtly. He responds in kind, his face devoid of emotion. After the greeting, you proceed to the sitting room. Elborn is the first to enter. He kisses Mother's hand, and Gloria's too. He tussles Nathan's hair after he sees him hiding by the table. Grandfather acknowledges them with glum nod. Stephen. Greetings, Lydia Brandt. I remember you were kind to me when I was but a child. You must be Nathan. You could barely walk when I saw you last. Your elder brother ignores Gloria completely, not even a greeting. You proceed to the dining room in a dignified manner and take your seats. The dishes smell delicious, but they merely punctuate the overwhelming tension at the table. Elborn is the only one with a friendly smile on his face. Augustine. The dinner is splendid, Lydia. Did you choose the dishes yourself? You have a truly refined palate. It warms my heart to know Stephen spent his early years with you. Womanly care always does a child good, no matter the state. Your fork freezes in the air halfway to your mouth. You expect many things from a noble of the sword, but words of praise for a low-born woman are not one of them. You cast a glance at grandfather. He looks like he is about to choke on those words. Gregor. It would do my grandson more good to stay at boarding school amongst his equals. Augustine. Please, Gregor. Parenting is no less important. Nothing can replace a mother's love. I cannot deny it. It saddens me greatly that my late sister could not be there to raise Stephen. But there was still a family for him, and he was surrounded by love. How could that be bad? And besides, his father was by his side all the while. A father's example is always the best. After all, Robert earned the judge's rank the same way you did. Your grandson will surely follow in your footsteps. And who knows, perhaps even a younger man of Brant's family will contribute to the... Gregor, you clumsy, low-born cretin. Everybody is startled by the sudden outburst. Grandfather's face turns red. He's glaring at a young lady servant holding a pitcher over a glass. Stephen is sitting right next to him. Oops. Next to her, dabbing a napkin on a fresh stain on his jacket. Gregor, begone this instant! The lady's servant runs away, leaving the pitcher on a small table by the door. After a quiet moment, Elborn smiles again. It appears the servants have left us, yet dinner is far from over. Stephen, worry not, uncle. There are enough commoners at this table to keep us served with food and drink. Stephen glares at Gloria across the table. She's sitting right next to you. She shrinks down and hunches over under his glaze. Father furrows his brow. Mother covers her mouth with trembling hands. Grandfather sneers. Stephen's gaze does not move. Silence lasts far too long. Then she starts to rise from her chair. Gloria. If the Brant gentleman so wish it. Your hands clench into fists under the table. How can he bring himself to humiliate his own family, his own mother and sister like this? It is all grandfather's doing. Stephen could not even bring himself to embrace father without his permission. And yet they are all noblemen, and they have the right to act this way. If there is any way this dinner can become even more unbearable, I do not want to see it. So I can insult my brother. You step out of line and insult Stephen for what he has done. Make small talk over dinner. Try and act like nothing happened. Make a small talk with the guest. Join Gloria in her plight. You rise from the table and help your sister wait on your family. I wouldn't insult. I don't know if I would necessarily help though either. This is a tough one between these two. Like small talk. I lean towards this for whatever reason. Moving stiffly, Gloria takes the wine pitchers and starts refilling the glasses. Turn away from your sister, eager to distract yourself from her presence somehow. So you ask Sir Elborn how you may contribute to the family legacy. He turns to you, clearly relieved. Augustine, your eagerness to support the family betrays your noble bearing, young man. It is simple. Always remember that you are a Brant. Your family has a path of its own. You must follow in the footsteps of your father and grandfather and learn the judge's trade. Keep asking questions about the life and duty of a nobleman, trying to not look at Gloria as Gloria continues serving the table. Cyril Bourne is eager to explain. Noblemen must always live with honor in mind, but the imperial law stands higher. There are 3 lots and 3 estates. Naturally, they can never be equal. Yet the law must govern those who live within each estate. You have a hard time understanding some of the things that Prefect of Magra says, but his intellect is stunning. The dinner ends. Gloria takes away the last of the dirty dishes and disappears quietly from the dining room. Sir Elborn cordially bids you farewell. Grandfather and Stephen are still haughty as ever, but they are clearly pleased. Pleased with what, you wonder? The dinner or glorious humiliation? Then you go to sleep. Your sister is sobbing in the next room, loud enough that you hear her. Sad. A dropped handkerchief. Hot, dry wind sweeps through the city from the barren land around it. The noble residents of Anazati prefer to remain in the chamber. Their chambers, while the commoners huddle in tents on the shade of the silver tree. You're an errant right now. Your father wrote a letter to a noble acquaintance, and you are deliberate. Thomas, the boy down the street, is tagging along. 2 of you are inseparable now. The errand is an easy one. You decide to take this opportunity to loiter around part of Azanet, where the nobles live. So here you are, in the middle of the city square, resting on the ancient brickwork by the old fountain in the merciful shade of the gargantuan silver tree. Thomas is by your side, lazily slouching on the edge of the fountain's basin. Thomas. It's a hard life for commoners like you and me. Either you break your back in a workshop day and night, hoping someone will buy your goods someday, or you become a manservant to some noble. You never get a chance to enjoy life. This is our lot, you remind him. We work and endure and suffer, but Thomas waves your words away. Thomas. Yeah, I know that already. Mother keeps drilling that stuff into me. You must be humble. Our strength is patience and persistence, so yeah, I say. But I want to make my fortune no matter what. So how ain't that living by my lot, I ask you. But the lots, they ain't easy. Let's take you for example, Brant. Your father's a nobleman. But even that, if that didn't make you one, just look at your hands. Never had to work as hard as me, but we have the same lot, so we're supposed to suffer the same. Look at your father. He's a judge. He toils at the prefecture day and night doing his judging, and he's a noble. I've never seen an Arcanian work as hard as he does. You shrug. The Arcanians are a different race. The books say that they were born to rule over humans. They are never commoners, always nobles of the sword by birth. They founded the empire after subduing all of human kingdoms on the continent. Humans will never be their equals. Arcanians always better, smarter, stronger, and their skin is a noble shade of blue. But the books are to be believed, of course. You have never seen one yourself. Your idle chatter is suddenly interrupted by a rugged-looking guardsman dressed in black and green. He chases you away from the fountain. A common rabble like you have no place here. You hear the clattering of hooves and wheels against the cobblestones, and see flags bearing coat of arms. A sable serpent on a field of vert. It makes you squirm. It's the Archduke's coat of arms. The Melandes dynasty. The carriage does open, revealing a young lady in a luxurious dress. Do not look away from her. Those dainty shoulders suggested but not revealed by the cut of her dress, her black hair cascading over them, her stately slim silhouette, her paltry lips and prim nose, those eyes, dark like the night sky, the way she moves fluidly, gracefully, most incredibly of all, her skin glows an azure blue. She's a masterpiece given life. She is an Arcanian. Octavia. Clear the way for me. The Melandian guards work quickly to clear the way for the fountain. Clear the way to the fountain for a Canaan lady. Searing sun dances on her skin in bizarre patterns. One elegant motion, she reveals a handkerchief, then leans over the basin and wipes her head and neck with its cool water. Thomas, well, I'll be. That's Octavia Melanidas, our Archduke's own daughter. The Arcanian turns away and proceeds gratefully back to her carriage. You see something slip out of her hand. Fall to the cobblestone right next to you. Her handkerchief. It's right there by your feet. Intricate craftsmanship. Expensive woven fabrics. Oh, can't give it back. Of course not. Delicately decorated with emerald filigree. Your heart skips a beat. Will you dare draw the beautiful Arcanian's attention in order to return her lost possession? Or would you rather not attempt to cross the chasm between you and her? Keep the handkerchief as a memento. You watch the Arcanian lady depart, trying to burn her every movement into your memory. Instead, you quickly hide the trophy, planning to sell it later. Or give it back. I'm going to keep the handkerchief as a memento. Carefully observe Lady Octavia as she leaves. Her delicate figure moves through a square like a waking dream. Her elegant hands gliding through the air, her hair flows in the light breeze. Your eyes watch all of her. She returns to the carriage, leaning on a guardsman's shoulder as she gracefully climbs back inside. The soft handkerchief feels warm in your hand. You fold it carefully and hide it in your pocket. The carriage drives away, marked by the thundering rhythm of hooves. Until that day, you associate the Melanidas dynasty with nothing but indifferent cruelty. But now your breast pocket holds the proof of yet another quality they possess: beauty. Year 1130, spring, the quorum decree. 12 years old now, you overhear an important conversation. The spring night, and mother has just sent everyone to bed. You walk past father's study and hear voices coming from beyond the door. Grandfather is yelling and father is replying quietly. The other Brant men are fighting, arguing about the place of the commoners in the city. Sneak outside to avoid mother's attention, hide next to the open window of the study. Perhaps they'll mention you too. Gregor, that lowlife idiot had the gall to pay me a visit and beg me for some service. Had the insolence to ask me outright. He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's seat of the lesser quorum. How dare he? Robert, Father, please listen. Mayor Egmont may be lowborn, but he carries a lot of clout in Magra. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful should he become the chairman of the lesser quorum. Gregor, I don't give a damn who this Egmont is, Robert. What he is, however, is lowborn. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They have nothing but a flock of sheep and need a firm, noble hand to guide them. I wasted so many years trying to squash that quorum decree, but that accursed Corellius Tempest did everything in her power to make the emperor sign that pathetic screed. And now even lowlifes can wield power. True power, Robert. Robert, just the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax, nothing more. Gregor, it's only the beginning. What next? Are they going to arm the lowlifes now? Make them into judges? If the Empire rejects the foundations and the lot, the entire edifice will crumble. Bah, who am I telling this to? It's already crumbling, and you, my son and heir, are a harbinger of its destruction. Robert, Father, I'm begging you. Do not wish to marry a third time. Lydia is a good wife and a dutiful mother to my children. If you'd only allow her to... Gregor, I will not allow them nothing, neither Egmont nor that freeloading wench of yours. What will you want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? I can already see where this is going. I'd rather run my sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlife share the same rights. My only dream is to see the name of Brant in the Blue Book, but that dream will never come true. They will never call me Venerable L. Brant, and it's all because of this marriage of yours. My only hope now is to hear Stephen addressed in such a manner one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He's about to grow up a true nobleman. His children will bear the name of L. Brant. Robert, you have 2 more grandsons. Gregor, those spineless milksops from the common lot, they're incapable of anything. Best your middle son could do is sneak into the Imperial College and get ennobled by the mantle, though I have grave doubts about even that. As for the downtrodden Nathan, I hold out no hope for him whatsoever. Your grandfather's heavy footsteps, the thudding of his cane, and the slamming of the door. It's time to sneak back home before you're discovered. School begins 11:30. You start studying at the school of Sir Tibor, again to master the sciences. Storm of expectations. Finally, the day has come. The teacher stopped coming to the house, but before you can breathe a sign of relief and put away the books, Father asks you to come to study. Robert, you've grown, my son. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. Chosen a deserving school for you, Sir Tibor's School for the children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it's not a boarding school for nobles, so you will study there during the day and come home in the evening. Share the news of your best friend Thomas. Thomas, Sir Tibor's School, huh? Yeah. I gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop is toiled day and night for years to save up for my education. School is based in an ancient estate on Arcanian design. Classrooms are tall and spacious with massive benches. The sounds of scraping quills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echoes under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Restless Thomas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets his hand slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Every day, Father asks you about your studies. You have already told him twice how Magway joined the Empire and how the noble court of honor is different from the commoner civil court in the city prefecture. But Father keeps pressuring you to work even harder. When it's time to go to bed, Mother will not let you go to sleep until you recite a newly learned prayer for her. When it's time to go to school, you promise her every day that you will behave with the great humility and steer clear of insolent behavior of any kind. We still live by the commoner's law, and that lot is hard work and suffering. Your first month in school draws to a close, and the teachers announce that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and worst students in each subject. Father insists that you devote all your spare time to studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. But when you speak to Mother every day, you start considering theology. You still remember the revelations and divine visions that came to you in your earliest years. You've only one more day until the exam. You have locked yourself away in a room. It is already getting late. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy. But you have read through all of them again, at least for one of your subjects. There's a nagging thought in your mind. Thomas ended up in big trouble the other day. Got in a fight with several boys who live next street. They heard about your wooden fortress and got outraged by the fortifications built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Thomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps you should abandon books to rescue this friend in need. But then you hear your little brother Nathan's knocking on the door. He stands there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still and staying speechless until either you speak first or he runs away. But this time he actually says something. Nathan. The door is locked. Are you okay, Leeroy? Is there anything I can do to help? Alright, so you can focus law and history. Intently study books of the secular science. Go help Thomas. Sneak out of the house, run your wooden fort. Study spirituality. You devote what little time you have left to exam studying theological tests. Spend a moment with Nathan. Interesting. Put everything away. You know, of all these things, I'm in younger years definitely the most connected to my mom here. I feel like this is what my character would do. Spirituality, theology, or in a world, the way I think of it, in a world where people can come back from the dead, that seems fascinating. All right, we're going to study theology. Sorry, buddy. You push Nathan out of the room. He cannot possibly help you prepare for the exam. On the way, you devolve into the book on theology. Your mind is awash of the names of saints and zealots and concepts of the divine. Your studies tire you out so much, fall asleep among the books until mother wakes you up gently and sends you off to bed. One morning, you barely have time to wake up before you are walking through the menacing edifice of the school. The entire day is a constant stream of school subjects demanding knowledge, questions demanding answers. You demonstrate satisfactory knowledge of law and history, though you are somewhat confused by the technicalities in chronological order. It feels like the day will never end, but the end does come at last, the theology exam. As luck would have it, it is the final test of the day. The teacher, priest, starts asking questions, surprising even yourself. Provide coherent answers for all of them. You quote eminent theologians on why and how the lot of the clergy is to provide spiritual guidance to the other estates. When the questions require examples, you quote prayers and lives of saints you have read with mother. You earned the highest grade on this exam. Back home, you're overjoyed to tell mother how you aced the theology exam. She pats you on the head gently and says you should tell father how you did in history and law. He's not going to like that very much. $11:30 Fall. Noble titles. Education continues. As you study imperial law, you come to realize that there is a certain hierarchy even within the noble estate. It seems your father's status is not quite equal to that of the more eminent human and Arcanian gentry. Return home with this new information at your disposal. I'll ask you about school after dinner, as he always does. Robert. Now, what is the difference between nobles of the mantle and those of the sword, Leeroy? Already have an answer ready. The latter status is hereditary, meaning it is passed down from father to son. After the Arcanians, nobles of the sword are the most eminent humans in the empire. They own land and estates. They fill offices of the highest rank. The names of their bloodlines are preserved within the Great Blue Book. The ability of the sword can only be granted only by the overseer of the province or the emperor himself. Robert. How are such eminent people addressed? With the honorific L before their last name, you respond. Sir Augustine L. Bourne, for example. Father pats you on the shoulder, clearly pleased. What about the Arcanians and their status? What have you learned about them? Arcanians stand above all human gentry. They are born to rule over humans regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics, for the names of their ancient dynasties are known to all. Father nods somberly. Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Arcanian tells you and never defy them. Ever. What about grandfather and me? Where do we stand as nobles? That is easy. Father and grandfather are nobles of the mantle. The title cannot be inherited, but it can be earned by a commoner as a reward for great service to the empire, in the legion, or as a civil servant. Father suddenly grows quiet and looks at you in the eyes intently. Yes, and someday you will earn a noble title too, son. All in due time. Sons of Nobility. Sir Tybalt's school teaches children of all stripes. Nobles of the mantle and low-born parents can send their sons here. Every passing day, the children of noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Most of the time, the bully leading them is Diedrich, the son of the secretary for the imperial chancellery and self-important slob. Son of noblemen never pick on you, however. They know that your father has been ennobled by the mantle. However, Diedrich and his retinue soon chose Thomas as their favorite victim. Time and time again, you ask your friends not to pay them any mind, but again and again, Thomas grows angry and snaps at their self-satisfied mockery. This early morning, the students are busy flocking to the classroom for their next lesson. You wave Thomas over when you see him. He waves back at you, and then a bucket full of slop splashes on him. Needless to say, it is the work of Diedrich and his entourage. You hear his familiar creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare he sit next to decent folk? Thomas clenches his fists. Thomas, you're dead, Diedrich. He throws himself at Diedrich's haughty entourage like a soldier ready to wage war. He attacks them first. This is just what they expected. They're free to retaliate. He barely makes one move before 4 pairs of hands grab him at once. Diedrich sneers and kicks your friend in the belly. Thomas gasps for air and starts coughing. You stand between them and Diedrich readies another. You stand between them as Diedrich readies another kick. Nobleman's son cocks an eyebrow. Why do you mingle with commoners? He asks. Your father's a noble of the mantle. You ought to be friends with your own kind, your equals, not this dirt beneath your feet. Behind him, 4 boys hold Thomas down as he struggles furiously. The other students are watching you, frozen in fear. Diedrich haughtily extends you a hand. He clearly expects you to shake it. What will you do? Oof. Shake Diedrich's hand. He's right. Being friends with the son of nobles can benefit your family. Man, that is rough. Admonish the noblemen's sons. Children of parents who have been annulled by mantle still bear their common lot. Turn him over to the teachers. You sick the school authorities on Diedrich and his retinue. Challenge him to a fight. Man, that's really tough. I feel like it's between these two. I'm going to lean into the spirituality here. You make a speech, not to the lead bully himself, but rather to his retinue. How come Diedrich sees himself fit to instigate a fight? His family may be higher in rank, but like everyone else here, is yet to take the nobleman's sacrament himself. Nobleman's lot is not yet his, so he is not yet fit to fight or rule, nor are any of you. The twin gods are ever watching over you, you add, and they are ever vigilant. Do you dare to defy their will? Diedrich tries to retort. They've broken no laws, he says. All they've done is teach commoners the meaning of suffering. Call upon the knowledge gained from your theology lessons and easily pick his argument apart. Every man's first duty is to follow his lot, and Diedrich and his friends lack their humility to accept that they are not yet true nobles. The hands holding Thomas down grow weak. There's a whimper among the students around you. You're right. The twins are always watching how we follow the lots. Diedrich's retinue quickly dissolves into embarrassment. He fiercely orders them to come back and join his cause, but his exhortations are all in vain. Other boys are clearly impressed by your words. The noble children will think twice before acting out again. The other boys are clear. Oh, yeah. I already read that. Year 1131. 13 years old. All right. Ooh. So as we approach the silver tree, we also go past an hour on this video. So I am going to go ahead and pause here. I'm going to finish episode 2. But I will be back with the next episode to continue with the silver tree. So hopefully, if you again like this video, drop a like. If you have any questions or recommendations, drop it in a comment. I'll take a look and definitely respond. Again, this is Leeroy with Leeroy Gaming, and I will see you guys in my next video.